Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today I'm going to be talking about SNDL, Sundial Core. I've had a bit of requests for an update. I think my last video was somewhere around the weekend, and it did predict a jump, and we saw that massive jump. So from here on, we're here to give a little bit further update to discuss, hey, what's next? Now, if you want to watch my previous DD, and I do recommend you do, you'll find it in the description below alongside with the fuller version with it. Make sure to drop a like to this video to help the channel grow, subscribe, and leave notifications on. Let's jump right into it. So quickly going through technical analysis just to give you a perspective of the trader's psychology, and then we're going to move on towards the upcoming catalyst. So you can skip to that somewhere in the middle of the video. So 1 week perspective, we get to see it's quite stable. 80x shows in, hey, there is a potential to advance at this level. Momentum looks really good. Willing percent R is somewhere closer to overbought, and it's actually really close towards escaping that bearish zone I talked about. Above the 0.86, it's considered bullish. Above the 0.69, it's marginally bullish. And what I mean is that it's still below the 50 SMA, but it's above the bearish trading action zone of 30 EMA, above 10 SMA. Now, on the 1 day perspective, what we get to see here is something along the same lines. I did, I think, make a video on it on the 27th. We've seen a massive jump all the way up to 86 from 38, so I hope you really profited from that one. But now comes the question is, where's it going next? Currently, it's still trading very bullish above moving averages, above the 200 SMA, above the 50 SMA, 10 SMAs above 30 EMA. Now, 80x shows in a very strong bullish trend. Willing percent R says, hey, it's still somewhere around neutral, it's not oversold. The MACD hasn't retracted really, it's just showing it's a part of the move. Momentum is more up on the same line. So just because there is a catalyst coming up tomorrow, actually a couple of them, we're going to do a 2-hour perspective to see, hey, are traders freaking out? And from what we see, it's in the trading action zone. MACD is telling you, hey, be careful, it might actually go negative. The next few hours are going to be very important, but the price action is saying, hey, we're bouncing back, and it's in the trading action zone. So between the green line and the red line here, between 77 cents and 56 cents, it has a lot of high likely chance of bouncing back up, and that's what we're seeing in this level. So we need to really look into resistances and supports to identify a bit more, but here it's more cautiously bullish. Now the moving average band here is showing 36 on the top, 33 in the middle, and 29 at the bottom. It hasn't traded within there, so we'll ignore it for now. We're looking into stochastic fast and stochastic slow. Both are really showing in what looks like to be another leg up, but at the same time giving you a little bit of a warning in this level. Now, coming in towards the chart, significant supports and resistance levels. The current significant resistance level on the Fibonacci retracements is at 74 cents, above there 93, above there $1.11 and $1.37. Significant supports are 51 cents and 14 cents on the Fibonacci retracements. Now, there's a little bit of gaps there, so we need to look into the price lines, action of supports and resistances. Current resistance, it's at 73 cents. Above there, we're looking at 83, and above there, we're looking at 92. From there on, we can look at the $1.04, and above the dollar, we're looking quite high at $1.13, then escaping up to the $1.26, and even maybe, just maybe, we touch the $1.40. So the resistances here are clear. What about the supports? So the current support sitting down is at 65 cents, and then 63. And then from 63, we're looking somewhere at the 57. From 57, we're looking into the 52. From 52, we're looking down to 41. From 41, we're looking all the way down to 30 cents, and from 30 cents to 24 cents. Hopefully, we don't have to look into that kind of price range in the 20 cents. But now we want to look into institutional buyers. It looks like institutional buyers are just watching, nothing significant at this level. They're just watching and observing. And they might have a big reason when they're playing with that much amount of money. Now, the next thing you're looking at is their current insider transactions. We don't see any significant transactions at this level. Senior notes, I did discuss about this a bit ago in my last video. Nothing significant there. They just have a bit more senior notes to be issued. They're going to be fully converted, so it doesn't really affect the amount of shares being sent out to the public. The next really strong catalyst here is that it's participating in the Boston Cannabis Conference. And the big reason with this being very substantial is that the US is on the way to vote on the MORE Act. I'll get to that in a second. But they're going to be presenting tomorrow on December 2nd at 10 a.m. Now, some of the things that I do anticipate them talking about is their US expansions. Like, why else would they do it in Boston? And so that is something to consider. And probably what's going to happen is they're going to mention up the US expansions and you're going to see a massive jump. But remember, buy the rumor, sell the news. So a massive jump usually, if there's no clear catalyst right after it, it sees a dip. But there is a catalyst after it. And this catalyst here is the MORE Act, the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestments and Expungement Act of 2019. I did go in the last video, so here on the screen you'll be able to see what the main points are, but it's basically legalization of marijuana, having a 5% tax on it, and making sure a bit of it being legal on a federal level. Now, just because I did read through it before, and I did talk about some of the data they have uncovered in the US market, now it's the time to look into co-sponsors. And the reason is that this one hasn't passed the Senate yet. It is sponsored by Senator Kamala Harris and the currently Vice President-elect, but look into the co-sponsors. They're all Democrats, 0 Republicans. Now, the previous act that was published in 2019, so this one is a reiterated one, the one we're looking at newly. This one was the original one, and it's currently sitting in the House. So this one here was actually sponsored by Nadler Gerald, and it has 120 co-sponsors. Out of these 120 co-sponsors, 119 are Democratic, and only one of them is Republican from Florida. And so the big question here, do we think it's going to probably pass initially in the Senate? Now that is a big question, and the legalization of marijuana might be a bit more of a Democratic push than a Republican push. And being this close, and there's a lot of things happening with some senators going all the way in different spectrums, whether the middle right, the far right, the neo right, or same thing on the left side. It's a little bit hard to say, yes, they're going to vote for this one. The hope is yes. That's a very strong hope, because the case here is very strong. But when I was digging even deeper, I found that the problem with current bills is that it's mainly Democratic. It's not Republican. So what might actually happen on here is that you might have one where they do require, for instance, that, hey, this is scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, etc. So that would be interesting to see. And some of the related bills here, for instance, the ensuring safe capital access for all small businesses. That is not even put into the House yet, or passed to the House. Next thing here is the ensuring access to counseling and training. The Small Businesses Act as well, not passed again. And then the third one here is the Homegrown Act of 2019, not passed yet. And it looks like, Congress is Congress. They take forever to pass stuff. So remember, this is still in the House. It's still got to go after it to the Senate, and then to the President. Then becomes law. So it's not going to happen, from overnight. That's something you gotta recognize. And from there on, we need to think at what's going to happen. Alright, so my anticipation of events is as follows. December 2nd happens around 10 a.m. You see a massive push, 10-10, even a further push on a little, okay? And then from there on, after the conference goes, you see a dip. And then, the news of the vote is coming on, tabulating. It might actually gain a little bit of strength. And then, after the vote is done or it's talked about and whatever, it's going to see a dip afterwards. Because even if it's actually approved, because by the rumors sell the news, so it's a little bit of a obscure, a little bit of a curse there, okay? And then what's going to happen is probably around January 20th, if Biden gets sworn into office, you might see a little bit of a push there. So it's going to be having its ups and downs. So is this a good investment? It's a little bit hard to actually establish, because remember, there is a reverse split, or they do need to reach compliance by somewhere, I believe, December 28th. And we can actually go on and take a quick look. So the way you gotta check it, it's easy. You just go on to one of the last quarter filings and check it. But I do remember from my previous video, this had December 28th. And I don't see an extension in compliance. So they still gotta do a reverse split sometime in the future. But they still have a chance to be above $1 for 10 consecutive days. And that is where things become very bullish, because they wouldn't even need a reverse split. You see how it's all a lot of moving objects rolling around? and there's going to be ups and downs. And you know, your job out of this one here, or what I would imagine your goal is to make profit. And so you want to trade it a little. You know your catalyst ahead of you, and you want to sell ahead of the curve. Don't wait too long. And you know what? After it dips, buy again. And you know, you can continue on to your investments. What do you think about the sticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like. You have a wonderful day. If you like this video, there's a community there right now that is a little bit more private than usual. It's totally free. I'm not charging you a single penny. In the description below, you can join that Discord and just to discuss and ask me more questions, as I'm very active on there. Have a wonderful day.